How's it going, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to the channel, and it's been a while, but we have some Venom 2 news. And today we have some real plot details, meaning that the information of where this is coming from has been confirmed to be true. And although this plot leak doesn't talk about the entirety and everything that is going to be taking place during Venom 2, it does talk a lot about Cletus Kasady, who of course goes on to be Carnage. And it also talks about Shriek, who we know to be Carnage's love interest. So this leak doesn't spoil the entire movie, but it does spoil some parts of it, so if you're trying to avoid any and all spoilers for Venom 2, you should probably click away now. We're going to talk about this plot leak and talk about how Venom could possibly tie into Morbius and how they could be setting up the Sinister Six. I'll break it all down in this video, but first, if you're new, be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on everything relating to the Venomverse and of course the MCU. And real quick announcement on my side channel Cosmic Culture that I have with my buddy Chris, we're giving away a Captain America shield on February 1st, just a couple of days away. To enter, just go over to the channel and subscribe and comment on our videos. On that channel, of course, we talk about Marvel, but we talk about all movies in general. So today's plot leak comes from HN Entertainment, and they have learned some details about Carnage and Shriek in the upcoming Venom sequel, currently filming at Warner Brothers Studios, Leavesden in Watford, England. And HN Entertainment were actually the first to announce that Venom 2 would be filming at that studio. And they state that Cletus Kasady, who of course is going to be played by Woody Harrelson and of course is going to get the Carnage symbiote, is set to be executed by the state of California for multiple murders. Cletus Kasady was in the Ravencroft Institute for the Criminally Insane, but he manages to escape alongside Frances Louise Barrison, aka Shriek. And right now, Shriek is confirmed to be in Venom 2, reportedly played by Naomi Harris, although I don't think that's confirmed yet. But Frances Louise Barrison, aka Shriek, is expected to be a fellow inmate at Ravencroft, meaning that she just doesn't show up and break him out all of a sudden. She was in there with him the entire time. They say whether or not Cletus Kasady already has the Carnage symbiote at this point in the film remains to be seen, but it sounds like he hasn't transformed into the film's big bad just yet. And that makes sense because if he did in fact have the Carnage symbiote already, he definitely wouldn't need help escaping the facility. So when he's in the facility at this point in time, he most likely doesn't have the Carnage symbiote. But HN Entertainment goes on to say that Cletus's violent past as a child will also be explored in the film after Tom Hardy posted a photo of the remains of an orphanage that Cletus burns down as a child. And this orphanage is the St. Estèse Home for Boys. We learn that this is why Eddie Brock is at the orphanage, and after some investigative reporting, we find out that the 12 deaths from the fire will be uncovered as being the direct result of Cletus's actions and adding to his already hefty body count. Now, what most likely happens here is that after interviewing Cletus Kasady, Eddie Brock is given some information and goes to investigate the fire. Eddie Brock is the one that exposes the new victims, adding to the murders that Cletus Kasady has committed, and then his career as a journalist gets a massive boost and could potentially place a target on his back from the newly escaped Cletus Kasady. Now, these plot points that were revealed about Cletus Kasady escaping with the help of Shriek are good news. And the reason is because it seems like they're sticking true to the comics, especially the Maximum Carnage crossover. Because what happened in that crossover, which is where Shriek debuted for the very first time in Marvel Comics, is that Carnage actually breaks out himself in a very, very violent way. He then finds Shriek, who is also incarcerated, and he helps her escape. Shriek chooses to join Carnage, and the two of them embark on a massive killing spree. Now again, the fact that Shriek has to help Cletus Kasady escape the Institute means that he probably doesn't have the symbiote at this point in time. But if they're sticking close to what Carnage is like in the comics, which hopefully they do, that means we're going to get a very violent Carnage, which is what everybody wants, and it kind of seems like they're setting him up this way. Cletus Kasady is incarcerated, as we saw at the end in the post-credit scene of Venom 2, and apparently is going to be executed because of the murders that he has committed. Now this also happens in the comics, but right when he's about to be executed, the Carnage symbiote attaches to him and helps him escape. So perhaps we'll see somewhat of a similar situation here. But hopefully they'll do as much as they can with a PG-13 rated Carnage. And I know a lot of people would really like Venom 2 to be rated R, but here's a good reason why it should be PG-13. And that is so eventually Venom can go on to join the Sinister Six. I know most of you caught the Morbius trailer, and you caught the one scene where Spider-Man was on the wall and over his picture it said murderer. Now, Venom and Morbius are supposed to exist in the same universe, and it has already been confirmed that Sony has been talking with Tom Holland about making a Spider-Man cameo in Venom 2. So therefore, it does make sense that Morbius and Venom exist in the same universe. And of course, we can't forget about Michael Keaton's cameo in the Morbius trailer as well as Vulture. Now, there's been a bit of debate on whether or not this is actually the same Vulture from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but the general consensus is that it is. And according to Mikey Sutton, who broke details about the Sony Marvel Disney deal when all of the mess with Spider-Man staying in the MCU was going on, he says that this is in fact Adrian Toomes from the MCU. Apparently, the new deal between Sony and Disney/Marvel is that Spider-Man can exist in the Sony Spider-Verse, and that would include Venom, Carnage, Morbius, Kraven the Hunter, and more that they have coming as well. However, Sony is only going to be able to reference Sony-owned characters that exist in the MCU, which is why we can see Vulture in the Morbius trailer. So everything that happened in Spider-Man Far From Home technically happened in the Sony Spider-Man universe, which includes Morbius and Venom. And if we think about everything that executive producer Amy Pascal said, she said that we have currently all the villains we need to make up the Sinister Six. And right now we do. We have Vulture, Chameleon, Scorpion, Mysterio, because I think a lot of people think that he's actually alive, Morbius, and now Venom. It's not the traditional Sinister Six, but a Sinister Six nonetheless. And with the inclusion of Spider-Man from the MCU in the Morbius trailer, that pretty much confirms that they're all connecting. And based off of what we've seen and what everybody is saying, the Sinister Six are only a matter of time. And of course, you have to remember that the Sony Disney/Marvel deal was for a solo film and then a crossover film. The crossover film could be the Sinister Six, and the founder of the Sinister Six could be Norman Osborn. Unfortunately, that is just speculation for now. We'll have to wait and see if Norman Osborn is going to make his appearance in the MCU or the Sonyverse. But regardless, it does seem like the Sinister Six is right around the corner. So let me know what you think about these new details about Venom 2, and let me know what you would think about this group of the Sinister Six. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to give the video a like and subscribe with notifications turned on so you can stay up to date on everything relating to Venom 2, Spider-Man, and the MCU, and of course so you can enter my giveaway for a chance to win an Xbox One or a PS4. I'm picking a winner at 550,000 subscribers. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.